All right, everyone, we start off today talking about a brewing scandal here, which is something that's going to be needing to be looked into. We'll see how much the House Republicans' balls actually still exist. It seems like they're doing better than expected. Of course, when expectations are as low as for the GOP, yeah, well, it's better than nothing, I suppose. We'll see where it goes. Same on the debt ceiling limit. I have a little more optimism there. The FBI won't release additional J6 footage to Congress or to the public. And they're now telling us why. According to multiple whistleblowers over time, there were a number of glowing ones at J6. We won't mention any proper nouns here because this video is going on YouTube. The claim was, hey, there were feds in the crowd. Some of them attempted to whip the crowd up into a frenzy. Others were participating in what happened, and they were undercover. They're glowing ones, effectively. They're Fed boys. And we were told over and over again by Democrats, by the legacy media, by big tech, actually. For a while, they were being censorious about this issue. Not so much now, but they were originally. We were told that we were conspiracy theorists if we believed that the whistleblowers weren't whistleblowers. They were disgraced former agents that acted in an inappropriate manner and damaged our democracy. Well, now the FBI is effectively confirming what was said. Yeah, we can't give you the footage because it might reveal a number of undercover officers if we were to do that. So in other words, just to be clear about what that means, there were feds there, which was discredited as a conspiracy theory until, well, now, basically. We all know it was true, but we were told by public officials, Intel, and others that it wasn't true. We've seen this happen a lot lately in the United States. And they were actually in the Capitol. They were participating in what effectively had become a riot. And again, according to some allegations, and we have footage of some of them, hint, hint, according to some individuals, there was an attempt to entrap people on that day. People had begun to protest. Well, let's look at the timeline. Donald Trump holds a speech, tells everyone to have peace in their hearts and keep it orderly. He did this repeatedly. A very, very large number of people showed up to hear Trump speak. It was many tens of thousands of people. A smaller group then proceeded to march to the Capitol building. Not everyone that went to hear Trump speak was interested in doing so. Some of them just wanted to hear the last hurrah, I think, and go home. That's probably half the crowd. Other people just sort of stood around, wandering around the mall. A smaller group, though, did march to the Capitol. Initially, it was entirely peaceful. When they got to the Capitol, all of a sudden, without any impetus whatsoever, people started going crazy. I wonder how that happened. It's like a mob mentality, we're told. That's the most likely explanation for how J6 occurred. No, I think the most likely explanation is that a handful of sheepdogs were in the crowd with the sheep, so to speak. Not putting down on the J6 protesters other than the handful of them that actually genuinely acted in a truly criminal manner. Most of them just took selfies, wandered around the rotunda briefly, or even stayed outside. I would note some of the people that didn't participate in any crime whatsoever are still being held in solitary confinement to this day. Violating, by the way, their right to a speedy, fair, and public trial in every possible sense of the word. But, we don't have a rule of law in the United States anymore. Wokeness has convinced too many people that having a blind justice system that's fair is not a good idea. What you're supposed to do is use it in a punitive fashion to attack people based on, well, in some cases, the color of their skin, oddly. More often, though, their political affiliation and beliefs. Now, the FBI is now telling us that there were indeed informants and undercover agents in the crowd. I was told over and over that wasn't the case. And now, of course, since we don't know who those are, could those have been some of the people that were whipping others up into a frenzy? Were beating on windows? Were opening doors and ushering people through, in some cases even physically pushing them into the Capitol building? Could it have been the mysterious dude who was planting allegedly fake pipe bombs around the area? Could that have been a glowing one as part of a larger political psyop? Well, we can't know because we can't see the footage. This desperately needs to be looked into. I'm hoping that they can subpoena some of these individuals, bring them forward, and really grill them. Of course, when you're led by Speaker McCarthy, the grilling tends to be half-baked, but, at least an effort at this point must be made. We've spent years now being told to not believe our eyes and ears, that there were no feds involved. If there were any undercover agents at all, they weren't in the building, they weren't participating or anything. They were originally just marching and monitoring the crowd and trying to keep this from happening. I don't believe that. I believe that they whipped the crowd into a frenzy because they wanted to create a political spectacle. They wanted to create a political... why do you think that Pelosi waved off the concept of having troops there that were offered by Donald Trump at the time? Trump wanted more security there. He gave an open offer, and they always deflect and say, well, it's not within our purview to control the D.C. police. Well, that's a total deflection. He's talking about National Guard. So it's not the D.C. police he was talking about. I love that when they fudge what Trump actually said to try to deny the fact that he did provably, we have the communiques, he provably offered days before, hey, things might get out of hand here because there's probably going to be 50,000 fucking people watching me. And so it would be probably a good idea to have some more muscle around, the various, you can increase the DC police or something like that. That was declined. Has nothing to do with the National Guard that was additionally declined, by the way. And then so-called, basically the idea, Orange Man told people to go fight like hell, and people took it too literally and then decided to try to overthrow the government. That's what we've been told. No feds involved, all Trump's fault, and a bunch of evil racists that wanted a white supremacist government. Yes, they genuinely, a bunch of unarmed people who proceeded to take selfies thought that they were legit occupying the federal building there, technically the people's capital, and that constituted an overthrow of some point. Well, no, not really. Most of the people that are still being held in solitary, I noticed that they got the actual treasonous, like the supposedly, allegedly, paramilitary groups. They've already culminated with those trials, but yet somebody who's basically at most guilty of vandalism and simple assault sits there and rots for 2 years. I find that odd. By the way, good on Trump for vowing that he'll go through those cases and largely pardon the people that were involved if he's reelected. Another reason to reelect him. This is a huge scandal, which is why the legacy media will ignore it or obfuscate it. They will say, well, but we've been told that this is all bullshit. They'll lie by omission and completely ignore the whistleblowers before Congress saying, look, they were there, and the corroboration by the FBI itself. They won't even report on that. They'll leave it out of their reporting in order to talk about, rabble-rousing conspiracy theorist, evil racist Nazis are trying to cover for Trump by discrediting the long-established narrative of J6 that we know to be true and therefore don't need to investigate further. That might as well be the MSNBC headline for today, which I'm sure that they will totally cover on page 1. That's about all. Peace out.